Welcome to Epic Yarn Gems. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make something a little different. Typically I would show you a crochet stitch or a crochet project, but today I'm going to show you how to make a pom-pom with items that you can find in your house. So what I use here are toilet paper rolls, a very sharp pair of scissors, as well as some circles that I cut out from paper plates. So the first thing that you're going to do is you are going to cut off a 12-inch strand from your yarn. Typically, when I make pom-poms, I use two strands of yarn together. So we're going to set those aside right now, and then we're going to use our toilet paper rolls. These are actually small toilet paper rolls, which is why I use four. And here are my circles. The one thing you're going to do is in one of them, you're just going to cut a little notch out. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your two strands of yarn and you are going to wrap them around your toilet paper rolls. The types of toilet paper rolls that I have here are very narrow. They're actually industrial toilet paper rolls. If you use the ones from the households, you may only need two. The reason that I use these four are because they're really sturdy, they're heavier cardboard. And what you're going to do is you're just going to keep wrapping that yarn around. And typically for a bigger pom-pom, you would wrap it around close to 100 times. I know that sounds like a lot, and it really is. So, making a pom pom, you use a lot of yarn. I didn't realize how much yarn you actually use until I started making them. We are going to finish wrapping around here, like I said, about 100 times, and then we're going to cut off our yarn. After we do that, we are going to use that 12-inch strand that we cut off at the very beginning, and we're going to use that and we're going to wiggle that right in between all of those toilet paper rolls. And once we do that on this side, we are going to flip it over and wiggle it through on the other side. This is where we're going to be making our knot. But the first thing you want to do is you want to get those toilet paper rolls out of the middle of that circle because you are no longer going to need them. So after we get those toilet paper rolls out of there, we're going to be tying our knot. One of the most important things is to get a nice tight knot because if you don't, after you cut your strand, it will just fall apart and you won't have a pom-pom. You'll just have a whole bunch of little strands of yarn. So what you're going to do is you're going to wrap the yarn around twice. This makes it easier to get a nice knot in there, and you're going to pull it as tight as you can, and you don't want to pull too hard because you don't want to rip the strands of yarn, but you do want it as tight as possible without ripping those strands of yarn. After I do that, I just put a little knot in here. Another way to do this, I've seen people put a little dollop of glue in there to keep that knot tight. But now what we have is the loops of yarn on both sides of that strand, and we're going to take our scissors and we're just going to cut through all of those loops. This is where you need a sharper set of scissors because you do have a lot of loops to cut through. And we are going to do this on both sides of the pom-pom. So what you're going to get is a really scraggly looking pom-pom, but this is just the start. You're going to be trimming it down. And this next part is really messy, so you may want to put a piece of paper underneath or something that you can pick all the scraps up and that you can easily throw them out because, like I said, it does get pretty messy. We finished up cutting our loops, and we're going to hold the pom-pom by the two strands that were made from that 12-inch piece of yarn. And we just, like I said, you want to make sure that that knot is really, really tight. You're going to give it a little shake out to get some of the extra pieces that may have come loose out of there. Finish cutting any loops that you might have missed. And then once you've done that, we are ready to trim our pom-pom. This is where you're going to use these two pieces of cardboard that you made into circles. The one with the little piece split out, you're going to put those two long strands in there so that you have something to hold on to and you have a nice base. And you're going to take the other circle and you're going to put it on top of the strands of yarn, kind of making a pom-pom sandwich. You can see that there's like a whole bunch of extra yarn outside of those circles, and you just want to make sure that the circles are even. And then you are just going to start trimming and trimming and trimming and trimming. And this is, like I said, where you really need to have sharp scissors, otherwise this is going to be quite a task to do. And what you want to do is you want to get that yarn as close to those circles as possible. You also don't want to cut those two strands of yarn. I use those to tie them to the top of my hat, so I want to make sure that they're all tucked in here. So as you finish cutting around those circles, you are going to pull them off, and you're going to do a couple little trims, just some of those longer strands that are hanging out there. And you're going to give the pom another really good shake so that you can get any excess yarn out. And as we look at this, this is not really shaped like a pom-pom. It's kind of oblong and a little odd looking. So we're going to use those circles one more time, and you're going to wrap those two pieces of that 12-inch yarn that's left over inside the pom-pom, because again, you don't want to cut it. And you're going to put this, rather than on the bottom, you're going to put it on the side. So we're going to use both of these pieces of cardboard, and you can see we want to line them up, but there's still a lot of excess when you lay it the other way. So again, you're going to cut all of the yarn off so that it is even with those circles. And hopefully what this is going to do is give you a nice round pom-pom. And as you can see, it makes a huge mess. You can see all those extra pieces of yarn that have been cut off. It is quite a pile. After you finish taking those two pieces of cardboard off, you're just going to take the pom-pom, give it a little shake, and hopefully it's looking more like a circle and a very full pom-pom. What you're going to do is just do some finishing touches, cutting off any scragglers. And that is how I make my pom-pom with items that I find in my house. I hope that you have enjoyed watching this video. If so, please hit the like button and leave me some comments. And if you want to see my next videos, please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. I hope you have a great day.